Hello, everybody. Hola and greetings. I would say namaste from India, both from Nilesh as well as myself. I think namaste is the new norm now
It is.
rather than shaking hands. So, hello, Nilesh.
Hello, Lakshmi. Hola.
So, IACL is very, very glad to, participate in this class 2020 lecture series. We are having two lectures, one by myself and the other one by Nilesh. And today is Nilesh's talk on proactive recommendation of contact lenses. Just to give a small background about Nilesh, before he joined IACL, was a very active educator. He was also heading a school called Bharati Vidyapeeth in Pune. And then after that, I think IACL kind of stole him from that role. And he's ever since been involved in contact lens education and also producing a lot of educative materials. So a lot of that you see in terms of, research update and case reports and things like that has a lot of hard work of Nilesh behind that. For those of you who are members of IACL, I'm sure will be familiar with all of this. Nilesh is a graduate in optometry. He also is a fellow of IACL and as well as a fellow of the Academy as well. So, and he's currently the executive manager of education programs of IACL. So, welcome Nilesh, and over to you.
Thank you, Lakshmi. Gracias for that lovely little introduction. And hello, everyone. Hola. I think this class of 2020 is one of the few good things that are happening in 2020. Otherwise, we all know how it is going. But I'm very happy that I'm talking about a very, very, I would say, one of the favorite topics of mine, which is proactive recommendation of contact lenses. And before, we proceed, I would like to thank all the sponsors of IACL, without whose generous support, IACL would not even exist. So thank you to all the IACL sponsors. Now, you would be wondering why I have put this particular photograph of two different people and what do they have to do with contact lenses, right? So the one is basically a barista at a coffee shop and the other one is a beauty advisor. Now, I'll just take you through, a couple of stories that I have that are very personal, my own experiences recently.
I thought you're going to say that the barista guy is you and the other person is me.
No. Yeah. I don't look that good, no? That's the problem. Anyway, so so the beauty shop, right? So I was walking in a mall with my wife and she just got into a beauty shop, and the moment she entered, there was a lady who welcomed her nicely, and they started getting involved in a conversation. Smoothly, they were talking to each other, they were smiling at each other. The lady was trying to show her different beauty products, and eventually my wife did not even want to buy anything, and she landed up buying a couple of lipsticks and some other makeup items which I am not very familiar with. And I was wondering, wow, what a beautiful conversation, right? And the second one is personally with me. It happened in a coffee shop, right? Whenever you go in any well-known coffee shops, the barista really welcomes you with a nice smile. And then if you're confused what you want to order, they really guide you. And that happened to me as well. I was looking at the menu and I was not sure which coffee meant what. So the person actually took me through the menu. He explained, okay, this is what this coffee means, this is what the mug size is, etc. And he also proactively told me, if there is a current offer going on, and if you order this with this, it would probably go well. If you're a little hungry, this is what you can have, etc., etc. So both of them were very, very pleasing experiences, and I was very happy at the end of my experience. My wife was very happy at the end of her experience with the beauty product. And that is what got me thinking, like, what do these people have in common? Right now, they don't sell the same things, they're not even healthcare professionals, but there is something very nice about it, and probably all of us can learn from them. So what do they have in common? And to answer this question, well, the first one is they both welcomed with a beautiful, genuine smile. they asked precise relevant questions. Like the barista guy asked me, so what kind of coffee do you want? You know, um, well, if you are a little hungry, this is something like a combo that I can recommend, and so on. um, they were engaging us in conversation. We never thought that, it was awkward. It was a smooth conversation. And whatever they thought we needed, they recommended confidently. And actually, we went ahead with their recommendation. And last but not the least, they were proactive. They were not waiting for us to talk to them. They were talking to them. They initiated the conversation, and they were very, very proactive. Now, like a good presenter, I went back and I found out the definition of what is proactive. So proactive means you create or control a situation rather than responding to the situation after it has happened, right? So this is what proactive means. Uh, and I think this is a beautiful way of living life, not just in contact lenses, but otherwise as well. As usual, my problem is when I see something nice happening, I try to relate it to the optometry and eye care world. So I was thinking, are the eye care practitioners proactive? And when I looked at some data, looked at some research papers, the answer was not very comforting. Okay, so this is a very old paper, but which says that contact lenses as a mode of vision correction is discussed in less than half of the potential wearers during eye examination. And actually, only 20%, 27% of them were started by eye care practitioners. That means the other conversations, when the patients ask, we talk about contact lenses. As eye care practitioners, we do not ask. And that is not a great thing to do. Is it affecting us? Yes, it is. And look at the way it is affecting us. If you look at a global population of around 7.6 billion, and if you think around 70% of them require vision correction, including presbyopia, today there are hardly 175 million contact lens wearers. So how many, in terms of percentage, how many people are wearing contact lenses? Just 3.3%. So there is a huge potential, there's a huge untapped segment of people who require vision correction, but we are not providing them, or we are not recommending them contact lenses, right? In India, this is
This
even
means
worse.
that, Nilesh,
Yeah.
sorry, this also means that our practice will really, go places when we actually look at opportunities related to contact lens and prescribing contact lenses, right?
Absolutely. So we are sitting on a gold mine and we don't know. That's one thing. Secondly, there are patients who would probably really enjoy the benefits of contact lenses because, the natural vision, the field of view, the freedom from spectacles for doing certain activities, all these benefits they will enjoy, but they're not aware of that because we're not recommending contact lenses. They think probably contact lenses are not for me, right? So I want to ask yourself, all of you, a question, and this you can ask and you can answer this question to yourself, being very, very honest. Lakshmi, maybe you can ask this question, you can answer this question to me straight away. On a scale of 0 to 10, how would you rate your clinical skills to fit just the standard soft contact lenses kind of thing?
Having practiced so many years,
Of course.
maybe I would say something like a 9 or something like that.
Absolutely. And I'm not surprised. Most of the clinicians are good with their clinical skills, right? And all of you can answer this question to yourself, right? Now, though we are so good in clinical skills, we are reasonably, well versed with equipments, etc. Then why are we hesitating in recommending contact lenses to our patients? Is it the fear of rejection that, if I ask and the patient says, no, I don't like to take, I don't like any rejection, or some of the practitioners may be just prejudging. They feel, oh, this patient probably does not need contact lenses. And sometimes is it the lack of confidence that we are not very confident about how do I talk? And that brings me to my next question. And again, all of you can answer this question to yourself, being very, very honest. How would you rate your consultative skills in recommending contact lenses? to a potential contact lens wearer. See, in clinical skills, we know we are around 9 and 10, and Lakshmi also endorsed that. So Lakshmi, maybe you can answer this question on a scale of 0 to 10. Consultative skills,
Uh,
talking to your patient,
maybe
recommending.
6 to 7, I would say, because it varies, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, 6 to 7, I would say.
So look at that. A practitioner of such vast experience is still not as confident with her, recommending or consultative skills as compared to the clinical skills. And I think that is where the problem lies, right? Now, look at the impact that a proactive recommendation that can have. So this is a very famous EASE study, enhancing the approach to selecting the eyewear, where it's an old study. I think it's more than a decade old study now, where they they did not talk about contact lenses as a corrective option to the patients. They just said, okay, you have come here to select spectacle frame, no problem. Let me just put a contact lens in your eye so that your experience will be better and you'll enjoy the spectacle selection experience. That's all. They never asked the patient to buy contact lenses. They never explained the benefits of contact lenses, etc. So it was just given as an aid to select eyewear. And look at that. Almost more than 35%, 36% people actually purchased contact lenses also, though they did not come to purchase contact lenses, and the practitioners also did not ask them to purchase contact lenses. So this is, an additional bonus kind of thing, by just applying contact lenses to the patient while they were selecting spectacles. That's it. Now there is another poster which I came across, again Phil Morgan's group, which was specific to presbyopic group. And they found out that out of 110 eligible patients, I think 38 patients actually wore the contact lenses. So they took the contact lens trials, and half of them, 19 of them, eventually purchased the contact lens. So when the patients were given the experience of contact lenses, almost half of them actually purchased the contact lenses. That is huge, right? And this is even more true when it comes to ladies, because I think ladies understand the value of contact lenses probably a bit more than men. But yes, even if you look at the contact lens wearers, almost 2/3 are females and 1/3 are male. So that's true. That was true even in presbyopic age group. Now, we conducted an interesting study a couple of years ago. It got published in Contact Lens and Anterior Eye, and I'll speak to you a little bit about this study. So we wanted to find out, if we talk to patients about contact lenses, how many of them will allow you to apply contact lens to the eye? That was the first objective. The second one was, if they wear contact lenses as a trial, how many of them would actually purchase those contact lenses? That is what we termed as conversion. And finally, we also wanted to understand which method would probably have better conversion rate. The ease method, which I just spoke about, where you don't talk about contact lenses, but you just fit contact lenses as an aid to select eyewear. That was one method. And the other method was where you actually talk about the benefit of contact lenses and do counseling and then fit contact lenses. So we wanted to compare these two methods along with the other two objectives. And the methodology was very simple. It was a prospective study where we involved 6 contact lens practitioners across India. All of them were fellows of IACL, and we wanted fellows because we wanted to have some, standard level of knowledge and skills among the practitioner. And each of them enrolled 20 patients. And again, as we had 2 groups of patients, each of them enrolled 10 in each group. So looking at 6 contact lens practitioners and 20 patients each, eventually we had 120 patients who wore contact lenses, right? Inclusion criteria was very straightforward, very healthy individuals and standard refractive error. Coming to the group 1, which was called as conventional proactive recommendation, where contact lenses were recommended as an option for vision correction. So feature and benefits of the lenses were discussed. Examination, slit lamp examination was done. Contact lenses were, diagnostic contact lens trial was given, and there was a questionnaire at the end of the trial, which all the subjects filled up. And we just waited for 3 months so that if the patients come back and buy the contact lenses or not. We wanted to know that. So any purchase in the next 3 months was recorded. The second group was ease, where contact lenses were not discussed as a vision correction device. They were offered as an aid for spectacle selection. The other procedure remained the same. Questionnaire was filled to see how their experience was, and we recorded the purchase for next 3 months. Right now, the first eureka moment. So to enroll 120 patients who could wear contact lenses, we had to speak to 167 subjects. That means almost 72% of success rate, right? So only 28% subject turned down the offer of, wearing a trial contact lens or letting you apply a contact lens to their eyes. And the most interesting point, the female practitioners had a very low rejection rate. So we had 3 male and 3 female practitioners. So female practitioners, when they recommended contact lens trial, very few people could reject that. So I think the ladies have a superpower here. Yeah. So we had 120 patients, 60 in each group. Again, most of them, 2/3 of the patients were females. The age group was around 24. The mean age of all the patients was around 24. Now, another eureka moment, and this is what we all are waiting for, which is out of the 120 subjects who allowed contact lenses to be put on their eyes, 63 went on to purchase contact lenses in 3 months and without any reminder call. So they came on their own and purchased lenses. So the success rate in this case is around 53%. So more than 50%, right? It is phenomenal.
But like half the people that were recommended, just as an option.
No, half the people who wore contact lenses.
Who actually wore the contact lenses.
Took the trial of contact lenses, yeah.
Yeah, came back and said, okay, I want to go in for contact lenses, right?
Yes, right.
Just imagine the number that we can increase if we actually, everybody followed this.
Absolutely. And this was a surprise to us as well. We didn't, to be honest, I personally did not expect such high conversion ratio. It was quite high, right? Now, most of them purchase the lenses within the first 2 weeks. And I think that's what happens, right? When we go for any trial or when we look at something, our decision is made in first couple of weeks. If first 2 weeks go, then we become lethargic and somehow it just drops off, right? So this is also coming across very clearly. 73% of those people who purchase lenses purchase within 2 weeks. Most of them were either monthly disposable lenses or daily disposable lenses.
Hello, everybody. My name is Jason Nichols, and I'm the program chair for the Global Specialty Lens Symposium and our new meeting, the Global Myopia Symposium. We look forward to bringing you cutting-edge information each year. And again, we look forward to hosting you in 2021. Thanks, everybody.
OneFitMed es un lente escleral delgado hecho a la medida que le permite a usted personalizar el diseño para cada ojo, logrando una oxigenación adecuada a la córnea y a las células madre.
Now, coming to the other important question that we wanted to ask, which method would be more effective? The conventional proactive recommendation where you discuss the benefits of contact lens as a vision correction, or the ease method where you don't talk about contact lens, just put the contact lens as an aid to spectacle selection. In our study, we found out the conventional counseling came out to be a winner. So the success rate was 67%. So out of 60 patients, 40 came and purchased, as opposed to ease method where 23 came out of 60, which is around 38%. So my point is, try either of them. You will at least get 38%, right? It's as simple as that. In terms of other things, there was hardly any difference between the two methods, like the age of the patient, modality of the contact lenses purchase, how much they purchase, etc., etc. There was no difference. We also had a questionnaire. We asked them certain questions at the end of the trial. And these were the questions. I'll not go through the entire list, but these few questions got very, very high rating, regardless of whether they purchased or not, right? For example, was your vision comfortable with contact lens? Most of them agreed to that. Was the experience, better than anticipated? Was it quicker than expected? And was it simpler? All these things people actually appreciate it. So that means somewhere in the back of the patient's mind, they feel contact lens experience or the trial and the checkup may be a little tedious, lengthy, complicated. That's what the patients feel without knowing about them. Actually, we know how simple, how easy it is, and the patients realize that after they take the contact lens trial. Right now, what did we learn out of this study? Number one, proactive contact lens recommendation is definitely a tool to attract new contact lens wearers. No doubt about that, right? Whichever approach you choose, whether it is an ease method or whether it is a CPR, the conventional proactive recommendation method, they did not really dictate the buying characteristics, right? What is important is giving them an experience of a contact lens wear. It creates an overall positive impression. So even if they don't purchase, at least they know contact lenses are very simple to wear and they're very comfortable on the eye, and I can enjoy the benefits of those contact lenses and enjoy my life better with contact lenses on, even if they did not purchase. And last but not the least, we did not have any recall system. We did not do any follow-up or reminder calls. Probably if we do it in the first week or first 10 days, it might have enhanced the numbers a little bit more. We don't know, but I think there is a possibility that it could have enhanced.
Nilesh, I just have a question.
Yeah, please.
So here we are basically saying wherever opportunity arises, we have to push contact lenses as an option. And if we are really aggressive, there are a lot of conversions from spectacle wear to contact lens wear. So can I kind of summarize it like that, saying that, if we really, I'm not saying that you have to really push it to everybody. I'm just saying whoever, there is an opportunity of broken glasses, and when they're just coming into the clinic to replace them, just provide them with a proper vision so that they can select a frame. That then leads to contact lens buying. So basically, if we actually use all the opportunities that comes to our plate, rather than, I'm not saying that we are really going out looking there for opportunities. These are opportunities which come into the clinic itself.
Right.
And then if we pick up all of them, then I think, the practice definitely improves in terms of contact lens.
Absolutely. And I'm just going to add to that, Lakshmi. All the practitioners in our particular study were fellows of IICL. So good experience, good knowledge, good skills, and most of them were experienced also. So maybe that is why we got a high conversion rate. But imagine even a fresher, if you start talking about contact lenses more, you will definitely get a better rate than what you have right now without talking about contact lens for sure. So there's nothing to lose, number one. Number two, this all depends on whether we believe in contact lenses as a correction mode or not. If we feel contact lenses are really good and our patients should benefit out of them, then we should talk about them and we should recommend contact lenses to people who would definitely benefit out of them. And I would tell you, most of the people who with refractive correction will benefit with contact lenses at certain point. So they may not be wearing contact lenses all the time regularly, but there will be definitely certain occasions and times where they would want contact lenses or they would enjoy the benefits of contact lenses. So it's a definite option along with spectacles. And I generally don't say get rid of spectacles and wear contact lenses. I like to say that you continue wearing your spectacles also and wear contact lenses as well. Use them alternately. Choose your days when you want contact lenses and choose your days when you want glasses. Both have their own place in your life. That's what I believe. Now, let me take
I think we should do that. We kind of should do that as healthcare providers and as optometrists. Give them the choices, right?
Absolutely.
It is our duty to give them the choices of vision correction, and then they select whatever they want.
And most of the time they'll select both because they don't want to use just one all the time. They would select both. And that probably works very well for them.
Correct.
Yeah. So just a quick case here. So we have a 34-year-old male, works as a teacher, has a small daughter, and very straightforward spherical refractive error, no significant medical history. And this patient comes to us, and most of us would talk about contact lenses and say, you know what, you should wear contact lenses. They offer so many benefits, etc., etc. Why don't you go in for a trial? And you know what will happen? The patient will say, I'll come back later. Right. And this has happened to most of us at, various times. Now the question is, why does it happen so? We have done a good job of explaining what contact lenses are and the benefits of contact lenses. Still, why is this patient not wearing, not accepting my recommendation? And the reason is because we haven't really identified the need of the patient. Okay, and that's an extremely important aspect before recommending any solution to our patients. And I'm just going to ask you one more question now. Imagine you added just one particular question in your kitty of your history taking. What are your hobbies, or what do you do in your free time? Now the moment you ask this question, the patient also likes to talk about their hobbies and the activities they enjoy doing. For example, this particular patient may not be a party goer, may not have a very active lifestyle, but because he has a 3-year-old daughter, probably he would say, I just enjoy playing with my daughter. Every weekend I take her out in the garden or so on. And that is your cue. That is where you can actually think of how contact lenses will enhance his lifestyle. And you could simply say, okay, so when you play with your daughter, um, does she try to pick your glasses, and is it slightly inconvenient? And he might say, yeah, in fact, I've broken these glasses a couple of times in last 6 months because I like to play with her and she happens to snatch them. Now imagine if that is the point, if you offer an option where this particular gentleman can enjoy the benefits of contact lens and play with his daughter the way he wants, he would definitely be more interested. And that is a time when he'll say, okay, this sounds interesting, let me give it a try, right? So how do you introduce contact lenses is an important aspect. Generally, we are taught about the clinical side of it, the scientific side of it, but we are not taught the softer aspect, or the lifestyle related aspect so well. And that is what happens. We talk about all the benefits of contact lenses and patients say, oh, they're good, but I'll come back some other time. So they feel they are good benefits, but they're not meant for me, they're for someone else. And that is why I think we need to understand this a little bit better. So how do we introduce this? I think along with the profession, we need to ask about, what do you do in the free time? What are your hobbies? And do you at some point of time feel any limitations with spectacles? And that's when the patient starts speaking. It could be fogging. In today's time, because of the mask, there's a lot of fogging, and that's a great opportunity for us to recommend contact lenses and patients to enjoy, fog free vision, I would say. Sometimes a very, very powerful question is, did you ever wish that you should be free from having to wear glasses? Now, when you ask this question, the patient has to think a little bit more about, their life and how they're managing with with their spectacles. And I'm sure each spectacle wearer will have certain times when that person would have felt, oh my God, I shouldn't have been wearing glasses at this particular time, right? Other times they are fine, but right now, I wish I did not have glasses. And that is your cue to talk about contact lenses. Until that time, we should not talk much about contact lenses because the patient has not identified the reason to listen to you yet, right? And once we know the needs, that's the time we talk about the benefits of contact lens with that particular need, not the entire list of benefits of contact lenses. Right? Some people would have a good positive experience and they have stopped using contact lenses. In that case, what do? We note all the details about the type, wearing schedule, etc., etc., and we offer a trial pair of a new, latest, upgraded product. Now, some of them would be having a negative experience. They will say, no, 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 I tried my contact lenses and they were awful. And you ask them, when did you try them? And the patient will say, oh, 10, 15 years ago. Now imagine what was the technology 15 years ago and what is the technology today. And the simple way of noticing this is, ask the patient, so which mobile phone did you use 15 years ago? And they would say there was a phone which had buttons and all. And today, look at the way the mobile phones have evolved. Similarly, the technology in contact lenses has also evolved tremendously in terms of design, in terms of material, in terms of comfort. And that's the way you convince the patient and offer a trial with the new latest contact lens material. Here are some of the ideas which we have got from talking to various successful contact lens practitioners. Some of them discuss their own experience or the experience of their family member with their patients. You could quote famous figures, any sports persons, etc. I've seen a practitioner who uses testimonials of his own successful contact lens wearers. So in his clinic, he puts up photograph and few lines about how their life is different after they started wearing contact lenses. The last one is also interesting. You can ask your staff to wear cosmetic contact lenses once in a while, or alternate between contact lens and specs, and those patients who come more regularly, they do notice and they ask, oh, what are they wearing and can I try something like that, and so on. So at least it gives you a reason to start the conversation, right?
Nilesh, I just
Yeah.
want to share something with regards introducing contact, especially something very, very relative to the current times of COVID and wearing mask.
Right.
So I know a friend of ours who's actually put up a poster with a photo of the mask and spectacles fogging, and then the same person with wearing contact lenses and just the mask. So, and he's kind of labeled it as unfog, unfog to see the world.
Right.
So a very, very catchy kind of a title.
Absolutely.
To see, unfog your vision to the world or something like that, So
and very apt as well, right?
Very apt. Very apt, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Because currently that is what all of us are struggling with, the fogginess because of the mask, right? I could not wear my sunglasses because of mask that day, because it was getting foggy every now and then. And I was like, oh my God, what is this? Anyway, but because they were just sunglasses, I just removed them. Then you have astigmatic patients who were discouraged to wear contact lenses because some practitioners are not aware of how good today's toric contact lenses are. And Lakshmi is going to talk about, how good, how toric lenses have evolved and how contact lens practice in toric designs is different now, and it's so much easier as compared to what it was, right? Then presbyopes, wow, this is an untapped segment, and there are so many presbyopes who are probably waiting for a solution where they don't want to wear glasses because somehow they feel, when I wear my glasses, people will know how old I am. And not just the cosmetic part, but even the vision related aspect, right? And finally, myopia control. We all know how important it is becoming. We all know myopia is growing. I'm not sure how bad it is in Latin America, but definitely in Asia, it is growing and people are worried about myopia. So myopia control is also another way where you can start a conversation of contact lens, especially among children and parents of the children. Things to remember. Well, have this discussion in the clinic and not outside, because the moment you come outside the clinic, you are not a healthcare professional. They will probably think that you are selling a product. While inside the clinic, you are a healthcare professional. You are talking about health. You are prescribing a solution to patient's problem and not selling a product. A detailed eye examination obviously is mandatory. You can't apply a contact lens without doing an eye examination. Please do not hesitate to recommend contact lens as a correction option. Your patients are actually waiting for you to recommend them because they don't understand what is best for their eyes. You do. So they're waiting for your recommendation, and use your power, channelize your power, use it appropriately. And as I mentioned earlier, it's the and story. It's not either spectacles or contact lenses. It is spectacles and contact lenses. Both of them are good for you. You can choose when you want to wear which ones. Your confidence and your recommendation, extremely important for the patient. And please remember, we are not pushing to sell contact lenses. We are providing it as a solution to our patients' problems. And why are we talking so much about it? Because the patients themselves don't know that they are facing these problems, and they can be taken care by contact lenses. So they are not aware of this. That's why it's our responsibility to make them aware that this is something which we can definitely solve by prescribing contact lenses to you, right? So this, if you're an IACL member, you would have probably seen this. We have kind of developed a standard procedure for contact lens recommendation. And it goes from right from before entering the clinic, right? So if you look at it, the front page goes like this: before entering the clinic. That means how good your clinic should be. It should be clean, it should be tidy, everything should be in place, etc. You should be well groomed, should look like a healthcare professional. Then the first contact with your patient, whether it's a hello, it's a good firm shake hand, a nice welcoming smile. Well, shake hand may not be appropriate now. It could be just namaste, or it could be hola without touching the patient, whichever. But your first contact with the patient is also very important. Your initial interaction. So along with, typical history taking, where we ask medication and previous prescription and profession, etc., etc. Add that one question to your list. What do you do in your free time? Or, what are your hobbies? Then you do your eye examination, and finally you do the counseling, where whatever you have understood from the initial interaction, you get more information on that, and you see how contact lenses can benefit this particular patient, right? So in a nutshell, we need to be enthusiastic. We need to be welcoming the patient happily, greet with a smile, a very natural smile, not a fake one. It should be natural. Ask precise and relevant questions. If you fall short of a question, one very solid question is, have you thought of any times when you did not want to wear glasses? Then whenever you ask a question, just stay quiet and listen to the patients carefully, actively engage in a smooth conversation. And finally, once you have understood, once you have a complete information of the patient, recommend whatever you think is the best option confidently. Now, there may be a scenario where you think this patient is happy, is okay with glasses, no need to prescribe contact lenses at all, and that's okay. So there may be patients whom you feel do not need contact lenses, and that's fine. You don't need to recommend contact lens to each and everyone who comes to your clinic. But there are more patients than not who would get benefited with contact lenses. Finally, just two lessons I want you to take away. One is, be proactive. If you do not prescribe, if you do not recommend, the patients don't know, and someone else might do that, and then you lose a patient, right? And finally, give a memorable experience of a contact lens trial where the patients can enjoy the benefit, and then they will realize, oh, this is something I was missing. This is so much better than what I thought. The lenses are so comfortable, and maybe I can wear them a little bit more often, right? On that note, gracias. I really want to thank all of you, and I want to wish you all the very best for this class of 2020. And as I said earlier, some of the better things that are happening in 2020 is the class of 2020. If you want to have, if you have any questions, or if you want to discuss this topic any further, my email ID is mentioned on the slide, nilesh_thite@yahoo.com. I'll be very happy to hear from you and engage in a conversation. Thank you so much.